When we talk about CHH, major names come to your head like Lecrae. But a name in CHH that has a reputation for stealing the show is not Klyde. He's known for his very unique style, which steals the show on any song he's on, making him a staple feature rapper. It's this uniqueness that allows him to remain as a highlight of whatever song he's on. Now, when it comes to his albums, however, that's a different story. His first album, in my opinion, is his masterpiece. It was his best album because he never got too overbearing. That's the thing with his features. Since they're just features, he never gets the chance to become almost too much. But on his albums, he can. His first album, he didn't do that. In some places here and there on the project, he did, but he never went too far, and it was that perfect balance. It's a really good album that gives us this iconic Paris Chorus verse.
Murder she wrote when we arguing. Follow my roads like in Hollywood. Drowning her pain while she talking me. When I look at her face, it get hard to breathe.
Unfortunately, after Not Klyde's debut album, Lil Foil 39, his work started to drop in quality with each release. His next album, I forgot the title right now, I just am picturing a purple album cover, tried to replicate the success of the first one by having lots of features, and it was somehow more compact than the first one. The first album was 22 tracks. The second album only had 8 tracks, and the only one that I really like is a remix from Lil Foil 39. Love Again with Mowgli the Iceberg, which Mowgli gives a really nice verse. The album following that one is even worse in my opinion. By the way, Not Klyde, some of the stuff you're going to hear at first may not tickle your ears. I'm just being honest, but stay around because I think you'll like my conclusion. The next album, Thrash Life, is actually funny because I confused the album name for Trash Life. It's actually funny how applicable that name is to its contents because that album is not very good in my opinion. Not at all. Like all of the albums, they have redeemable elements. The production is normally pretty good. Not Klyde in, I believe, 2019 had pretty good hits. Ants in My Pants, for example, and Bible in My Hand. But those were songs that literally ran underneath 2 minutes, and they didn't overstay their welcomes. But that's the thing. This album fully consisted of songs with a similar vibe to Bible in My Hand or Ants in My Pants. Loud, hype songs that were meant to get you going, but that doesn't make for a good album. At the least, it may provide some good playlist songs, but it's not a complete project. In fact, it makes for an aimless experience. One that's kind of messy. Yeah, that project wasn't very great. And then we have I recently looked up the name because I forgot about it. Mastery 7. Pretty much the problem with that album is this. I forgot. Like, it's just a forgettable album. I listened to it twice. I do not remember a single thing about it. The only thing I remember is that its most popular song is entitled Flock, and that is because I see it at the number 7 spot on Apple Music for Not Klyde music. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I've only listened to it twice and I don't like it. But that brings us to Not Klyde's 5th album. I Love Not Klyde. Stylized with an I, a greater than sign, a 3, and then NK. I listened to the project and was like, I think it's better than his last albums, definitely, but I don't know if I would say, like, this is good. Like, it's just okay. So I'm sitting in my room ranking the album, doing a score, and I finish everything and it gets a 5.5 out of 10. The thing that hurt it the most, the replay value. I gave it a 4.5 out of 10 for replay. And that was because I didn't find a lot of songs very replayable on the album. Actually, I barely found any songs replayable. Literally 2 days later, I found myself singing the chorus to Grew.
You did me despicable, but my money still grew.
And then I found myself liking Provide and saying like Afresh was kind of fire. And I did like originally the production on Velvet, and I still liked the production on Velvet. And I was like, so I listened to it again and rescored it. And my score went up. It went from a 5.5, and here's the ending score, to a 6.5 out of 10, which means that it's okay and nearing good, but something holds it back, and I will explain what that thing is in 1 second. I thought the production was good. I love the record's focus on worship. I love the lyricism in the album. It's not that the lyrics are clever or anything. I mean, there are a few bars here and there. One, like, for example, when the ground got rocky, I made a creed up to the Lord. Like, I thought that was an interesting wordplay right there. And not Klyde never at one point got, like, overbearing like he did in his past albums. He was perfect himself. The features were okay. Big Breeze. He was fine. He didn't give his best, but he didn't give his worst either. 350, great job. You really can tell that 350 and Not Klyde are comfortable together as heaven on earth colleagues. Second best feature, the guy on Provide. I had no idea who it was. And normally I know these people, but I was like, who is this? I almost wanted to DM Not Klyde and be like, who is on Provide? But I didn't want to look like an idiot. Thank God the next day on Instagram, he tagged the guy on Provide, and I was like, I've never heard of this person before. Right now, like, it's not in my head because I've only seen the post once, and I have no idea who it was. And then the other feature was, I forgot if it was on Don't Drive, but I know it was the guy on Rocky Road with Caleb Gordon, Alano Allen, something like that. I have a few songs with him in my library. I was going like, man, this album's not that bad. But now to explain the thing that does make this album a 6.5 instead of a 7, and that is the replay value. It's not a 4.5 replay value. That increased to about a 5.5, but it's still a 5.5 because there are 3 parts to this album. We have the intro, the first 4 tracks, which I would say are good. The title track, I Love NK, I think it's good. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's good. And honestly, that's a little bit of a missed opportunity because I normally expect intro tracks to be absolutely amazing. Although I will say that I love the fact that Not Klyde put in the first track,
round and around, I've been chasing these things, plucking the fruit I didn't want you to see. They been trying to put me on, but here's the thing, how they love NK when they don't know me.
And then in the final track,
round and around, I've been chasing these things. Do they like me? Do they listen to me? Building my house on the ficklest things. Needed a reminder that you still love me.
I liked that. And that honestly raised the score of the final track even more when I realized that. I was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty good. So we got that. Then Baptize. I like the R&B tinge to it. Aaron has a really nice feature on it. I forgot to mention Aaron Cole. He did great too, but I mean, still, best features was the guy on Provide and 350. Japan had a really catchy hook. Velvet, really good production. I get that. First 4 tracks, pretty decent. Then we get to tracks 5 through 10. That's what I call the middle section. The middle section of this album isn't very replayable to me. It's not that any track here is bad, because none of the tracks in the middle are bad. They're just 5.5s, pretty much. Like, if you look at my score sheet from the first time I scored it, which gave it the 5.5, and the second time I scored it, which gave it the 6.5, you have track 5, 5.5, 6, 5.5, 7, 5.5, 8, 5.5, 9, 5.5, 10, 5.5 on both of them. And that's because the tracks don't have anything very special to them. They're all very mid. There's no reason that I'll come back to them. Whenever I'm listening to a song, I'm looking for something that will say, hey, come back. For Gru, it's that really, really catchy chorus that's full of references to the movie's Despicable Me. It's a funny and playful track that causes me to come back to it for that exact reason. I can't find it anywhere else. This is what I'm talking about. You want unique elements in your songs that will set you apart from any other song. Oh, I need to come back to this specific song because it has something that no other song has. For Provide, it's those awesome vocals and flows. For Velvet, it'll be the really cool production with the flute. For Afresh, it will be that interesting way that it connects back to the intro song. Even as good and not great as that one is, for Baptize, an R&B tinged track that's spiritual. Literally, it is about baptism. I can't find anything like that anywhere else, and that's the type of stuff that's gonna make me come back to those tracks. Those tracks have something that bring me back. The huge chunk of the middle doesn't. And for that reason, this album gets a 6.5 out of 10. Very close to getting a 6, but really what saves it is Provide and Grew. I just was replaying that song so much. I'm not sick of it yet. I'm probably going to be sick of it. But yeah, literally those two tracks are what took the score from a 5.5 to a 6 to a 6.5. So where does this album rank in Not Klyde's discography? Well, his first album, Lil Foil 39, is his best, period. But I Love NK is his second best album. There's no doubt about that. None of the other ones really get close to it. It's Lil Foil 39, I Love NK, big separation, and then the one with the purple cover, and then Thrash Life. Remember, I know two things. I know that Jesus is king and that JT, moi, knows best. See you guys next time.